Well, there's breaking news coming in at this hour from the United States. And now the US has announced new sanctions targeting Russia's two largest oil companies. This is Rosneft and Lukoil, in an effort to pressure Moscow to negotiate a peace deal in Ukraine. Important information coming in as the US has announced fresh sanctions against two of Russia's largest oil companies, in, of course, an effort to pressure Moscow to negotiate a peace deal in Ukraine. The sanctions announcement came one day after the US president said that a meeting planned with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Budapest would be shelved indefinitely. Important to understand that the US president has said that these are very big tariffs against two very big oil companies. Important to understand that even the US president has spoken on this and has said that these are tremendous sanctions. Important to understand that he's also made a reference to the war, saying that he hopes that the war will be settled. The US President Donald Trump said, and I quote, that he felt that it was time. He's of course making a reference to the new tariffs that have been imposed on the two largest Russian oil companies. Apart from the US President, also US Treasury Secretary, in fact, Scott Bessent, said that the new sanctions were needed due to Putin's refusal to end the senseless war. This is a statement coming in from Scott Bessent himself. He said that these oil companies fund Kremlin's war machine. Of course, this term Kremlin's war machine is a term that's been used repeatedly by the US administration.
I don't know that they will. I think that they'll certainly have an impact. They're massive sanctions. It's sanctions on oil. The two biggest oil companies, among the biggest in the world, but they're Russian. They do a lot of oil. And hopefully it'll push... hopefully he'll become reasonable, and hopefully Zelensky will be reasonable too. You know, it takes two to tango, as they say, and we're going to find out. They hate each other. These two people hate each other. You know that better than anybody, and it makes it more difficult than it should be. This should be easier to do, but the level of hatred between Zelensky and Putin is very substantial.
Well, on this, my colleague Vishal Vivek joins us on the telecast. Now, Vishal, clearly the United States has, of course, put sanctions on two of the largest Russian oil companies. What exactly is it that you're tracking on this story?
Well, if we can analyze whatever US has done so far, we can say that this is sort of a curveball. This is a googly as far as Russia's reactions to this whole episode is concerned, because Russia would not have expected that Trump would go ahead and put, sanctions, big sanctions on two of the biggest Russian oil companies. Just to give you a perspective, these two companies, produce about half of all Russian oil. That goes to show the level of impact this can have on the fuel trade across the globe, and that is what Russia is also arguing. They have just said that this could have a detrimental effect on the global fuel supply, and that can in turn have a detrimental effect on the emerging economies across the globe. But all of that is in the future. Right now we can say that Trump wants Russia to yield, because he has tried all the means and Russia is not ready to relent. He himself sounded not that optimistic when he enforced these sanctions, but he's hopeful that this would result in some sort of a peace deal, because that is what the US has been gunning for. It wants Russia to have a peace deal with Ukrainian side, but there are several differences that need to be thrashed out. So far that has not been possible. There have been so many parleys between both the sides. We heard both the leaders in Alaska that there could be some sort of a resolution. That did not happen. Trump's repeated attempts have failed, but this is sort of a last resort from the Trump administration, because as I mentioned, these are some of the biggest Russian companies. 6% of all global output are dependent on some of these companies. So how this will have effect on the market, we've seen that some of the oil stocks have gone up, so we'll have to wait for more on that.